What up and welcome to the Beneath the Dirt podcast. I'm your host, Ron Bone. Thank you for tuning in. This week we got a special episode for you. But before we get into it, much love for everybody that's tuned in right now. Whether you're on YouTube, your favorite podcasting platform, first-time listeners, last-time listeners, all the true diehard supporters out there that like, share, spread the word, all that good shit. 2020 has been a good year coming to an end. A lot of good music came out this year. A lot of good music. If you've been paying attention to my social medias the last 5 days, I've been doing the top 5 albums of the last 5 years. And in anticipation of the top 20 of 2020. And that's what we're going to get into today. I've seen some people commenting on, I saw one person, I think it was, on one of the posts for the top 5 albums of the last 5 years. And they were saying that not much good music dropped this year. That they don't even have an album of the year. And that's fucking crazy to me. Even though it was such a crazy shit year, 2020 provided a lot of good music. A lot of artists went into overtime, pumped out multiple projects. And to me, 2020 has been a fantastic year for music releases, regardless of what is going on in the fucking real world, shit being shut down and all that good stuff. 2020 killed it with new music. And we're going to break down the top 20 releases. A couple disclaimers before we get into the top 20 releases. I know it says albums if you're watching on YouTube. The banner says top 20 albums, but I am including EPs in this list, just like last year. And every year I do this list. I know I've only been doing the podcast for 2 years, but before the podcast, I was keeping a personal list of top albums for each year. EPs included, because EPs, some of these EPs people put out be shitting on full-length albums. And I think they deserve the credit to be put into an overall list of music releases for a year. Also, one more thing. Any new releases that have come out in December of this year will not be included. The reason for that is I don't think I have enough time, less than a month's time to determine if an album can make the top 20 list. So everything up and through November is eligible, and anything that was released December of last year was eligible for album of this year as well, which I believe one album on this top 20 list was released in December of last year. I think last year I had 2. But there is one on this list that was released December of last year. So those are the couple of disclaimers I want to put out there before we get into this top 20 of 2020. Again, a lot of dope music. Thank you for tuning in. And without any further ado, let's get into it. Number 20, we got Twisted with the second album of 2020, Revelation. I got the hard copy. One thing I also want to point out, in the disclaimers, is all the albums in my top 20, and even ones that didn't make the top 20, y'all know, if you'll follow my social medias, the podcast, or my CD collection videos, I support the artists. I buy physicals when available. If it ain't available physically, I purchase the digital just to support the artist. But let's get back to the list. Number 20, Twisted with their second album of 2020, Revelation, with the funny spelling and all that. It was just released at the end of November, and I've been bumping the shit out of this album for the last few weeks since it's been released. Solid project from Twisted. Not as good as Mad Season that was released earlier in the year. Definitely better than the Halloween project that they put out. That was more of a, label project than a Twisted project. But standout tracks on here. Hallelujah, the very first track on there. Hard as hell. Monoxide Man rapping his ass off. proven yet again why he is, in my opinion, the best spitter right now in the wicked shit. You know, you could debate if Twisted spitting wicked shit or not. I think they do here and there, but this album in particular, there's no real focus or emphasis on wicked shit. It's just them coming hard as hell. It was billed by Monoxide on his live streams as their quote unquote rap album. Well, the very first song on the album, Hallelujah, which I love, has guitars on it. There's a couple of the songs on here with heavy guitars, kind of rock singing on it. So to bill it as a rap album was kind of a disappointment, but this is a really well-rounded, Twisted album, if you ask me. Other standout tracks on here: Blueprint, We Just Want to Be Heard, Come Alive, Separate, Laughable with Lex the Hexmaster and Young Wicked. That's my favorite song on the album. Love that shit. Never Be Nothing to end it out. A little bit of some emo Twisted. Number 20, Twisted's Revelation. Fantastic album. If you haven't checked it out, I highly recommend you do. Definitely worth the listen. Coming in at number 19, we got Flea Lord with Hand Me My Flowers. Now, 2020 for Flea Lord. This dude put out a project every single month in 2020. Dude dropped 12 projects in 2020. And the crazy thing is all these projects that he put out are good. None of them are bad by any stretch of the imagination. This dude was probably the most consistent artist and most busy artist of 2020. And this was my real introduction to Flea Lord this year, with all these albums he put out. And this one right here, fantastic album, entirely produced by Buck Wild of DITC, Digging in the Crates. He only has one feature on here from TF. Solid fucking project from Flea Lord. I love his voice, his delivery, his cadence, all that. It's got that kind of a raspy voice. Kind of reminds me, the voice kind of reminds me of like Sticky Fingers or something like that. Like kind of like hype, kind of want to punch you in the face type shit. Standout tracks on here. Probably my favorite song on here is Beethoven with the Stick. I love that shit. Super hard. Can't Fuck with Flea. Gathering My Thoughts. Shooter Tapping on Your Window. Great way to close out this project. Flea Lord. Kind of like a Griselda affiliate. It's how I first heard of him, doing features with Conway and shit like that. But Flea Lord killed 2020 absolutely. Buck Wild of Digging in the Crates killed the production on here. Fan-fucking-tastic EP. I don't think it's long enough for an album. Most of the projects he put out this year were EPs, so they weren't full lengths. I think there might have been one full-length project that he dropped this year. But number 19, Flea Lord with Hand Me My Flowers. Such a dope project. Dope project from Flea Lord. Number 18, we got Sutter Kane and Donnie Darko. This is their second release of 2020. The follow-up to Before the World Got to Us. This is After the World Got to Us. Entirely produced by Sutter Kane. I think he makes one appearance on this project. I know he's on the first project a couple times. But we got features on here from Lex the Hexmaster, Apollo Valdez, which is another dude I found out about this year. Fucking super dope dude. McNasty's on this project. Sutter Kane is one of the most underrated producers in the underground right now. Boom bap style. I've heard him do some like trap kind of stuff. This dude, heavy metal samples, all that. This dude, one of the most underrated producers. Donnie Darko, this dude raps his ass off. I love this project so much. This was the more of the darker version to, compared to Before the World Got to Us. This is like shit got fucked up. And this album's more darker, angry, in your face. Love it. Favorite tracks on here: Dark Noise, Winter Music Part 5, Death Merchants, which features Lex the Hexmaster, Apollo Valdez, Jinx, Danny Dierich, Fucking love that shit. Dark Voices, Death by Noon, Going Through the Motions Part 3 with McNasty. Some emo shit to end off the album, but super dope, dark, hard-hitting boom bap shit from Sutter Kane and Donnie Darko. Them dudes is killing it. The last couple years, I'm definitely looking forward to what they got coming in the future. Super dope project. And then we got coming in at number 17. This is the album I was talking about earlier that was released in December of 2019, but eligible for Album of the Year 2020. We got Riggs and Mooch, The Only Way Out, produced entirely Big Ghost LTD. I got the hard copy of it. This was my introduction to The Cloth. The Cloth is Riggs and Mooch's crew with Rob Gates, Mav, Illinois, a couple other people. But this project right here, produced by Big Ghost, man, his production is super dope. I've heard his shit before, but goddamn, this dude is fucking amazing. And Riggs and Mooch kill it with this movie. This is a movie in audio form, front to back. It's kind of like the come up of Riggs and Mooch, if you will. Super fucking dope project from them. Favorite songs on here, 77B Savage, the opening track on the album. That beat is just so hard. 3 a.m. featuring Mav is super. I fucking love that shit. Re-Up, talking about re-ing up on some coke. You know, they can't wait to see their dealer today, son. Shit's super dope. Summer School, Tit for Tat, the bonus track, which is only featured on the CD version, Flag Day, Riggs and Mooch, killed it. If you've never heard of them or The Cloth, I highly recommend you check it out. The Cloth, they also released a project as a crew called The Fix Tape a couple months back. Super dope project as well. But Riggs and Mooch, The Only Way Out. You know, shout out to Mike Sears. I always shout him out. He's the one that really put me onto this project right here. He was talking about this shit early when it very first dropped. And he just kept talking about it, I eventually peeped it, and I was like, bruh, I was sleeping on that shit. And shame on me for doing so, but at least I got onto it. And the album's super fucking dope. A movie in audio form. Love the storytelling from Riggs and Mooch. Super dope shit. So number 17 is Riggs and Mooch, The Only Way Out. And we moving right along, man. So much dope music. It was really hard putting this list together, straight the fuck up. I had to rearrange it a couple times going through it, but it was hard putting together. I got it down. And let's keep it going with number 16. This dude, one of the busiest dudes of 2020 as well. Up there with Flea Lord, although he didn't release as many projects as Flea Lord. This dude put out like 4 or 5 projects, I think, this year. Tons of merch drops. But number 16, we got Ouija Mac with Resistance 2, Hell's Hollow Tape. When this dropped, this was like almost instantly my favorite Ouija Mac project. Devereaux and produced this entire mixtape. It sounds like an album to me. Like straight up, I know it's a mixtape, but it sounds like an album. It plays and rides out like an album. Super dope project. Ouija Mac, he's another one that just keeps improving. There's some dudes that find a sound and stick to it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I ain't mad at that. I'm not mad at it because if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? But to the dudes that evolve and just continue to level up, get better at songwriting, putting songs together, mega props. Ouija Mac is one of those guys. I fucking love this mixtape album, whatever. Standout tracks for me on here. Fall Through the Floor. Stomp that boy out till he fall through the floor. Hey, that shit is hard. Stomp that boy out till he falls through the floor. Fucking super dope. Platinum Skeletons, banger. Poison, Love that. Ever since he released the snippet of it up on his like Instagram late last year, and then it finally made its way onto Resistance 2. There's only one song on here I don't like, and that's Therapist, but out of 17 songs, one bad song on here, in my opinion, that's really fucking good. All Blue is another standout track. The Plague, Put It Down, Die Alone, Where I Belong. Ouija Mac, one of the most consistent artists of 2020. Definitely looking forward to seeing what this dude's got going in the future. Been fucking with Ouija since Swag Tooth. And I was kind of skeptical of him signing to Psychopathic when he did, but when Gutter Water came out, Gutter Water was dope. But this shit right here, in his year that he had for 2020, super dope. Shout out to Ouija Mac and Devereaux, because Devereaux, another busy motherfucker, producing a whole bunch of other people's shit too. ICP and a bunch of other people. But we got coming in number 15, Ritz with Picture Perfect. His newest album, actually, not even his newest album, because he put out a Christmas album a couple weeks ago. But another dude, busy 2020. He dropped an album just November of last year. Picture Perfect came out a couple months ago. Then he dropped the Christmas album. But this Picture Perfect album is super fucking dope. One of my favorite Ritz projects, without a doubt. And the production on here, a lot of it, I don't even recognize the producers' names on here. C. Lance did some production on here. But other than that, I don't really recognize any other names who did production on here. And that's super dope. Coming from, Strange Music, which, to be honest, I don't even know who produced his Strange Music albums, but the production on there was super dope. I'm going to assume it's Seven. I could be wrong, because Seven does a lot of Strange Music shit, but Ritz is still going strong post Strange Music. My favorite album from him since Next to Nothing. Picture Perfect, not one bad song. It's only 13 songs. You play this shit, it ends. Bring that shit back. Let's fucking spin it again. My favorite songs on here, probably Ain't I? I like that song. Jesus Blanco, fucking fire with Northgard. Fucked Up Day, Geek Monster. Positive Vibe with Twisted Insane. Painkillers and Paint Colors. Bring Me Down with Mercules and Snack the Ripper. That was produced by C. Lance. I can't wait for the Ritz album produced by C. Lance. But Picture Perfect, if you haven't been following Ritz post Strange Music, I highly recommend you check out this Picture Perfect album, because it is a banger, straight up. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I really love it. Played the shit out of it when it dropped. It was on constant rotation. Shout out to Ritz for bringing it with Picture Perfect. And yeah, moving right along. Number 14, we got Gorilla Twins, Ill Bill and Nems. They teamed up together and dropped this Gorilla Twins project. It was being hyped for a little bit, and this project is just super hard, just super just ignorant raw shit that Ill Bill and Nems know how to bring best. Production on here from Stu Bangers, Scram Jones, Supply and Demand, Scud One. Super dope EP album. It's only 8 songs. I'll call it an EP. But like I said, a lot of people's EPs is shitting on albums. And this is proof right here. Gorilla Twins, Ill Bill and Nems. If these dudes do another project again, definitely be looking forward to it. Favorite songs on here. I fucking love the intro to this album. Even though it's just the same thing repeating over and over again. It's kind of, it's just a hook. But god damn, if that shit don't excuse me, if that shit don't get you hyped for the album, I don't know what will, because that shit is super dope. Wolves with Vinny Paz, super dope. Love that song. Highs and Lows, bong. Love that shit. Ill Bill and Nems going back and forth on that song. Super dope. Shootout at the Cyclone with Lord Goat, formerly known as Gore-Tex. Super dope. Just super dope storytelling from all three of those dudes, Ill Bill, Nems, and Lord Goat. My favorite song on here is probably Gunners, produced by Supply and Demand. That beat is epic. Epic as hell, man. I love the beat on Gunners. And Adios with Immortal Technique, DV Alias Christ. DV Alias Christ kills the hook on there, as he usually does anytime Ill Bill or whoever gets him on some shit. So the Gorilla Twins EP, if you're a fan of Ill Bill or Nems and you haven't heard this project, I don't know why you wouldn't, because if you're a fan, you should have already heard it. And even if you're not a fan, if you just like raw, ignorant New York boom bap shit, definitely peep this project from Ill Bill and Nems. Shit is dumb hard, and made the top 20 of 2020. So we talking about it for a goddamn reason. That shit is super hard. Coming in at lucky number 13. Now I don't have a hard copy for this, but I did pre-order it. It just got shipped like last week, and USPS right now is all fucked up, so I haven't received the hard copy. But Low Key's album, this dude dropped 2 albums this year. But his newest project, The Eyes of Parasuva, this is debatably his best album. I could make an argument that it's his best album. I think my favorite album from him is The Book of Time. This dude's evolution, what he's been doing, is amazing. The first album he dropped in 2020 was The Blood of Izu, and that was like a just straight up rock metal album, super dope. And then with The Eyes of Parasuva, he just kind of did a 180, toned it way back. There's there's a little bit of guitars on here. He is rapping on one song where he didn't on Blood of Izu. He does rap on one song on this album, but it's all singing, harmonizing, and all that good shit. Super personal stuff from Low Key, the Mission Effect General. And this dude, like I said, his evolution has been great to watch. Love when artists experiment with new sounds, take that risk and put themselves out there. And when it pays off with like with The Eyes of Parasuva, when it pays off like that, it's definitely worth it. It's a short album, 9 songs coming in at 39 minutes. So the songs are kind of longer songs, but overall, 9 tracks overall. I would consider this an album just because the way it plays out and how epic this shit is. Favorite songs on here, Burn It Black. That's probably my favorite song on here. It's the heaviest song on the album with guitars and all that. Love that shit. Tomb of the Scarab is really dope. These Ghosts, Hole in the Sky, Transcend. Not one bad song on here. Super dope project from Low Key. And an honorable mention, because it almost made the top 20. His other album, the first one that he dropped in 2020, The Blood of Izu, the third Oracle. This is the fourth Oracle right here. So honorable mention for The Blood of Izu. Fantastic album. If you like hard rock, metal, screaming, all that kind of shit, peep that. And if you want more of a mellow, laid-back kind of album, peep The Eyes of Parasuva. Another fantastic album. Low Key, the Mission Effect General, fucking killing it. I know he dropped a couple other projects too this year. Merch out the ass. Out the ass from Low Key. Masks and all that stuff. And let's get it to number 12 with Felt. Slug and Murs reunite. Album fully produced by Ant of Atmosphere. This is the second project that he's produced for Felt. This is the fourth installment. The album's called Felt for You. And this was kind of a surprise release. They dropped a single, which is not even on the album. They dropped the single, and then 3 days later, Felt for You came out. And yo, Ant of Atmosphere is one of the most underrated, slept on, underappreciated producers, period. Underground, above ground, whatever the fuck. Ant is an amazing producer. His production on this Felt For You project is super dope. Slug and Murs kill it with the raps on here. Dope storytelling. As kind of predicted or expected from Slug and Murs. Both amazing storytellers, in my opinion. And I love this album. Favorite songs on here. I love the very first track, Never's Enough. Might be my favorite song on the album. Super dope. Another one of my favorites, Don't Do Me Like That. Don't Do Me Like That. That beat is fucking amazing. Ant kills it. Trees. Sticks and Stones. Hologram with the Grouch and Aesop Rock. Super dope. Love that shit. But this project right here, great follow-up to Felt 3, which came out damn near 10 years ago, if not 10 plus years ago. It's been a minute since the Felt 3 album. And that was my first Felt album with Slug and Murs. I've been an Atmosphere fan since shit. Probably close to around God Loves Ugly, somewhere around there. Maybe a little bit after. And once I found out that he had a side group project with Murs, I didn't know who Murs was at the time when Felt 3 came out. I just wasn't hip to him. And that was my introduction. Dude's dope. This project's fucking fantastic. Go peep it if you ain't checked it. Super dope album. And we're getting close to the number 10. But first is number 11. And we got Conway the Machine with No One Mourns the Wicked. And this is another album that was produced entirely by Big Ghost Ltd. We talked about him earlier when he produced the Riggs and Mooch album, The Only Way Out. This is another album he produced. Conway solo EP. But, I bumped the shit out of this. When this came out, in my opinion, this was the best project to drop, for Conway to drop since Everybody Is Food 2. Or maybe even 1. I might like it better than Everybody Is Food 2. But the beats on here, super dark, grimy. Conway kills it. You got features on here from El Camino with Fake Love. Love the hook on there from El Camino. Super dope. Flea Lord is on Sicarios. Yo, that track is dumb hard. What a great way to end the EP. Just super hard shit from Conway and Flea Lord. Other standout. Every song on here is dope. Even the interludes in the intro. I love the intro to the album. Super dope. Streets Don't Love Nobody. Love that track. Bricks to Murals. Probably my favorite song on here. Icon. Every fucking song on this EP. It's 8 tracks. It's like 23 minutes long or something like that. Super dope. And it's so dope, actually. I got 2 copies of it. I got another one in the mail. I'm just waiting for it to come in. But I bought a second copy of it. I got the slipcase cover here. I got the Few Chains disc version coming in the mail anytime now. But Conway, man, killed fucking 2020. One of the most consistent artists of 2020, if not the most consistent artist, with merch drops and the music that he dropped. He dropped 3 projects. And that was the second one he dropped of 2020. Fucking dope. Super dope. And we're getting to the top 10 here. And before we get to the top 10, I want to shout out everybody that's still listening right now. I know we ain't talking no news, no new music releases, anything like that this week. It is the top 20 albums of 2020. So props to you for tuning in. And before we get into the top 10, I want to do some honorable mentions for 2020 this year. And let's start out. We already said The Blood of Izu from Low Key. Fantastic album. Go peep that if you hadn't heard it. Let's talk about Shy One, aka Shy 361. He put out The Door, the long awaited Door album that was supposed to drop in '06, something like that. The intro of the song says 90% of this album was recorded in '05, and you could kind of tell. The only reason why it didn't, it was really close to making the top 20. The only reason why it didn't is the mix on it isn't the greatest. You know, you could tell it was from '05, '06, that era. And the way he does his songs, I know it's his thing, but he has these like long drawn out intros to songs where it's like it builds up for like a minute and then the song kicks in. I enjoy it personally, but I think if he would have cut that back and have a little bit of a better mix on it, it might have made the 2020 list, but still a fantastic album. If you like old school 3-6 Mafia, Mystic Styles type shit, definitely peep out Shy One and the album The Door. Fantastic. Another honorable mention, Stu Bangers in Blackistan with Watson and Holmes 3. This is the first Watson and Holmes project that I heard. I've known about Stu Bangers for a while. I've known about Blackistan for a long ass time as well. But this is my first Watson and Holmes project that I listened to, and it's super dope. Stu Bang is one of my favorite producers in the underground right now. And it's only a matter of time before this dude gets bigger names that do that raw rap style to be rapping over his shit. And, he produced Ill Bill's Cannibal Hulk last year. I believe that was in my top 20 last year. In Blackistan, this dude's been dope since I've fucking heard of him, since back in the day when I first got into Jedi Mind Tricks, Army of the Pharaohs, all that. So Watson and Holmes 3, another honorable mention. I want to give another honorable mention to, let me look at my list here, Lex the Hexmaster with Party Castle. It's an EP, but super dope project from Lex the Hexmaster. If you're a fan of Lex and you haven't heard any of his new shit, I definitely recommend you go peep that Party Castle EP. Super dope project from Lex the Hexmaster. And then one more honorable mention before we get into this top 10. Stu Bangers again. He produced another project this year with Lord Goat, formerly known as Gore-Tex of Nonfiction. They put out Final Expenses. That shit is dope. Dope project. It's really short, but it hits you, gets to the point, and bounces the fuck out. Finish the EP, bring it back again. Really dope project from Lord Goat Stu Bangers. My favorite Gore-Tex project since The Art of Dying, without a doubt. So, honorable mentions out of the way. Again, thank you for tuning in. If you're still tuned in, much love. And let's get into this top 10, shall we? Cracking the top 10. We've already talked about this dude. And you're going to see a few repeat names in this top 10. This, I talked about artists putting out multiple projects this year, staying busy throughout 2020 while they're in quarantine. Might as well release music, right? Well, we talked about it. Flea Lord released 12 projects this year. This one being my favorite project that he released, entirely produced by Pete Rock. It's The People's Champ. And what a fantastic EP this is. Holy shit. I banged the shit out of it. Still do. From Flea Lord. Shout out to Flea Lord for absolutely destroying 2020 this year. And Pete Rock killed the production on this album. Pete Rock, legendary producer. If you don't know, go look him up. You see everything that he's produced. But this EP right here, super dope. Got the hard copy, of course. Favorite songs on here, Surfing with a K. Surfing with a K is probably my favorite song on here. I love the beat. I love the way it flows. The melody to it, whatever. And Flea Lord, surfing with a K. Fucking love that shit, man. Different options. Love that shit. Talking about, yo, I'm staying consistent in the underground. Um, I've got all these different options, contracts coming at me. Super dope from Flea Lord. Uh, Mini Mac on the fridge, giving you my view. I love this EP from Flea Lord. My favorite project from him of 2020. And no better way than to kick off the top 10 than to do it with Flea Lord and Pete Rock with the People's Champ. Amazing project. Definitely peep that. Peep every fucking EP and album I mentioned on this top 20 list. Without a doubt. They're on this list for a damn reason. So do that. Peep peep everything. I'm distracting myself here. I apologize. Phone's fucking bugging out over here on me. But let's get into the number 9 album of 2020. I don't have the physical copy of this one yet. I did pre-order it. Again, it's in the mail. Stuck in transit somewhere, who the fuck knows where. But it's Ill Bill with his new album, La Bella Medusa. Holy shit. Ill Bill, just one of my all-time favorite artists. Period. Been a fan since the nonfiction days. And I was hyped for this album. It's been a few years since he dropped Septagram, which that one made a top 5. I forget what year. I think it's 2017 maybe. And so it's been a few years since Septagram dropped, his last true solo album. And great follow-up. Ill Bill, just one of the most consistent artists, in my opinion, in the underground. Not one bad song on here. The features on this project are insane. You got Pharoah Monch, Conway the Machine, Tech Nine, Cool G Rap, Slain, Nems, Lord Go. Just super dope features on this album. Recognize Ali, J Royale. Love this album. I don't have the production notes in front of me, so I can't read off production. But favorite songs on this album probably Be Afraid with Conway the Machine and Pharoah Monch. Super dope. Love the beat on there. Conway kills it. Pharoah, Bill, all come correct. The title track or the song Medusa, even though he's got it typed out in some kind of weird script, I don't know what it is, featuring Right Hook. Right Hook is one of these dudes, anytime Ill Bill or Slain, Ill Bill's partner in La Coca Nostra, anytime Right Hook is on any one of their songs, I look forward to it. I know he's going to kill the hook, and that's exactly what he did on that Medusa track. Dinner Plate with Lord Go, Recognize Ali, and J Royale. Fire. They all killed it on there. Chrissy Snow with Cool G Rap. Call the Coroner with Slain and Lil Vic. Bora Bora Aura. Even though the hook from Tony Yayo isn't the best, it works though. It ain't the best hook from Yayo. And Yayo's, we celebrate, but it works on this project. Works on this song. Super dope. And then we got the nonfiction reunion, Watch the City Burn with Lord Goat and Sabak Red, talking about all the current events, all the fucked up shit going on in 2020. I hope we get some kind of nonfiction project reunion in the near future. That'd be super dope. And ends the album out with Superb Clientele. Just amazing album from Ill Bill. Not one bad song on here. I like I like certain songs more than others, but I could play this album through, not skip any song on here. Love it. Super dope project. Shout out to Ill Bill for bringing it and staying consistent throughout his career. And let's move on to number 8. My favorite rapper in the game right now. My favorite rapper for the last few years. This dude's been killing it. Great follow up to the Book of Ryan. This is Royce da 5'9" with the Allegory. And this album could not have come at a better time. With all the police brutality and injustices to black people, Native Americans, anybody that isn't white, basically, this album was what 2020 really needed. And great storytelling from Royce da 5'9". You know, the ice cream interlude on here, talking about the ice cream theme song. When you hear the ice cream truck roll through your neighborhood and you hear that jingle, is a racist song. I had no fucking idea. And I know a lot of people said that when this album came out. They had no idea that song was racist. And this is just like education on wax. Royce da 5'9" produced this entire album. It's 22 tracks. Now, to me, I like albums that are like 12 to 15 tracks. But this right here, he pulled it off with 22 tracks. There are a few interludes and whatnot on here. So really, there's probably like, I forget, like 17 tracks on here, maybe, songs. Ill features on here as well. My favorite songs on here are, I think my favorite song on here is Pendulum with Ashley Sorrell. Super dope track. Love the beat on there. Probably the best beat on the album, in my opinion, that Royce brought. Love that Pendulum song. Other standout tracks, Overcomer with West Side Gun. I'm not the biggest West Side Gun fan, but he fucking killed it on this track. Love it. The beat was made for West Side on here. No drums on it. West Side loves rapping on drumless beats, and they both killed it. Super dope. Fubu with Conway the Machine. Ugh. Super dope. Conway, another one of my favorites. Just killing it. And then we got Upside Down with Benny the Butcher and Ashley Sorrell. Super dope. Love that fucking Benny the Butcher, another one of my favorites. Tricked featuring King Crooked. Very dope track on there. Black Savage, Posse Cut, Sayari the Kid, White Gold, Saha the Prince and T.I. all on there. Super dope. Rhinestone Do-Rag. Talking about his Rhinestone Do-Rag on the cover of the Rock City album. If you remember back in the day. Young World with Vince Staples and G. Perico. Very dope. Amazing album. Couldn't have come out at a better time with all, like I said, with all the racial injustices going on in the country. This album is an education, and go educate yourself because you might need it. And go peep that. Royce da 5'9", my favorite rapper in the game right now. Just killing it. And let's see. Up next, we're up to number 7. Getting closer. But number 7 is going to King ISO with World War Me. When this album dropped early in the year, it was album of the year right off the bat. The year started out kind of slow, but I was bumping the shit out of this album in the beginning of the year. Entirely produced by King ISO himself. And super dope project from ISO. Great follow-up from his album that he put out last year. There's only 2 features on here, one from Tech N9ne and one from Mackenzie Nicole. Now, even though it's really only one song. When it first came out, there was like 3 or 4 songs that I wasn't feeling on here. But the more I listened to the album, the only song I don't like on here is Jealous with Mackenzie Nicole. But every other song on here is fucking amazing. And then even sometimes I'll just let that Jealous track play out and just listen to that album. Great skits. It's broken up. The track list is broken up into like the 7 sins or whatever. Gluttony, greed, sloth, lust, envy, all that. Very dope. Standout tracks on here would be Chopped Liver. I love that song. World War Me. Probably my favorite song on the album is World War Me. Love that shit. G.I. So, fantastic song. I Declare War. Probably my second favorite song. I Declare War. Talibans. Dog Tags. Fantastic song. Weekend Dad. Now, that was one of my tracks that I didn't like when it first came out, but Weekend Dad is fucking dope. Apparent Absence, another track that I wasn't like in love with when it first dropped, but grew to love it. Just great, great. King ISO knows how to paint a picture for you. And this album, great debut for him on Strange Music. If you haven't peeped King ISO yet, I highly recommend you do. And I would start out with World War Me and then just go from there because this is probably my favorite project that he's done yet. So peep that shit. Shout out to King ISO and Strange Music. And we are to number 6. Man, all these albums, man, just they're in the top 20 for a reason. Number 6, though, is going to Twisted. Mad Season, the first album that they dropped in 2020. Now, granted, half this album is a collection of singles that they dropped previously to this album being released. When Corona first hit, I don't think they were necessarily intending on putting out an album, but I think they saw an opportunity and took it. And they brought us Mad Season. Great title for the fucked up shit, for the fucked up year that 2020 is. 2020 has been a mad season. I love the throwback cover to Mira Mira, And, even though half the songs on here were previously released, they were killing it with those singles. And I was hoping that they were going to put them on an album at some point. And they did. And then the other half of the album that we didn't hear when this album came out, super dope. I know Young Wicked did production on here. See if I could pull out the production on here. Young Wicked, Fritz, Godsynth, Scattered Brains, and that's pretty much it. Charlie Beans did production on here too, but this album is hard as fuck, man. My favorite Twisted project, Magic Ninja project of 2020. They killed it. My favorite songs on here probably be That's What They Be Telling Me. I love that song. My favorite song on here is probably F Feelings. That beat is stupid hard. I love the way Monoxide comes in on his first verse. When it come down to it, just like a knee, y'all blew it. Fire. Young Wicked on the beat and the hook. Murderous. Follow Me with Hyro the Hero. Another one of my favorites. Hungry Like the Wolf with Jimmy Urine of Mindless Self-Indulgence. Fantastic song, man. I love that shit. It was a great switch up on the album to bring in the second half or, the last third of the album, if you will. Love that. Never Change, which was exclusive to the CD only. I get why, gives people more of an incentive to buy the CD, but it wasn't on the digital version. But I love that song. My Bible with Stevie Stone and Young Wicked. And then Forget You with Echo and Young Wicked. Like Young Wicked and Twisted is my new favorite group in the underground. They did so much work together in 2020. Young Wicked and Twisted. They killed it. I love Young Wicked's production. Can't wait for a solo project from him. Unfortunately, we didn't get one in 2020. But Twisted's Mad Season, number 6. I thought it was going to make the top 5, man, but it didn't. And, no fault to its own because it is a fantastic album. The best Twisted album since Abominations. This sounds like where they left off with Abominations, Mad Season, without a doubt. And, in my opinion, they keep elevating, like rap skills, all that. picking out great production. So peep that. I know there's a lot of twisted haters out there, whatever. But Mad Season is a fantastic album. I highly recommend you check it out. And let's get into it. Top 5. And here we go with yet another repeat name on the list. We got Ouija Mac with Wasteland. This album was hyped and anticipated for the longest time, ever since Gutter Water, pretty much, damn near. He put out, what, 2 prelude projects, pretty ugly, the Resistance to Walk to Wasteland. He put out Resistance to Hell's Hollow Tape, which also made this list this year. He put out Pretty Ugly before this project. I think he dropped 4 or 5 this year. And then the last one he dropped to 2020 is the album, The Third Element, Wasteland. His best project yet, in my opinion. Produced entirely by Devereaux yet again. Shaggy the Airhead did co-produce one song on here. Can't remember off the top. I don't feel like pulling the booklet out to look at it, but he did co-produce one of the songs on here. 2 features on here, one from Roz Dilliams and the other one from Ritz. And not one bad song on here. Let this album play through and then bring it back again. 17 songs, a little bit on the longer side, but it plays out. Not one bad song, like I said, but my favorite songs on here, probably Destroyers. The very first track, it's Destroyers, and then in parentheses, intro. Fantastic way to start Wasteland out. Warriors Destroyer. Like, that shit. I used to say that he needed to open concerts with Human Waste, but now, when concerts do come back, he needs to open concerts with Destroyers. And then maybe go into Human Waste or something. I don't know. But I love that track. Great way to start the album out. Fee Fi Fo Fum. Probably my favorite song on the album. Love the beat. The hook on there is super dope. Daily Death. Dope storytelling from Ouija Mac. Talk about how he dies every day. It's like a game show. Really dope. When the Lights Out with Ritz. Oof, probably my second favorite song on this project. Love that shit. And Ouija Mac steady repping Psychopathic. Even though Psychopathic didn't put this album out, he stays repping the Hatchet. Shout out to him for that. And he's got Hatchet Mode on here. I love that track. Juggalo, another dope track. Inquisition, Dead Homies, great way to end the album. Ouija Mac, MVP in the wicked shit, underground, Juggalo realm of the music stuff. MVP, dude put out Resistance to Hell's Hollow Tape, Pretty Ugly, the Zodiac mixtape, Wasteland. He dropped the Whoop Whoop single. I know he did another project with Star Fox LaFleur as well. In my opinion, the MVP of 2020 in the wicked shit Juggalo world, without a doubt, has to go to Ouija Mac. Has to. Dude absolutely killed it, man. And absolutely deserves to be in the top 5 with that Wasteland album. Dude just keeps getting better and better. The way he's putting songs together, his hooks, Devereaux, he's getting better with the production. They just make a dope duo, and the sound that they come up with is fucking amazing. Shout out to Ouija and Devereaux for making it on the list again, coming in at number 5 with Wasteland. It's coming down to the nitty gritty, man, but let's get into it with number 4. I don't have a physical copy because no physical copy has been offered as of yet. Not to say that there won't be. I'm really hoping that a physical copy will be available for this album and the album he dropped last year. But it's Jim Jones with El Capo, the Deluxe. Now you think of the deluxe. Why the deluxe? Well, if you don't know, this deluxe is a whole album. 15 songs coming in at 44 minutes. 46 minutes, I'm sorry. And last year, Jim Jones' El Capo was um, my favorite album of last year. Super dope project from Jim Jones, produced by Heatmakers, as is the deluxe version. And this project is almost damn near just as good as El Capo. I know he was hyping this project late last year as El Capo 2.0. I was really looking forward to it. I'm glad it finally came out. I've been bumping the shit out of this since it dropped last month. Last month this dropped with Twisted's Revelation and Loki's Eyes of Parasuva all on the same day, and they all made the top 20 list. So you have an idea of what I've strictly been listed to this past month. Great features on here as well. Favorite songs on this. This is more of like a dark and then also at the same time kind of laid back album. But there are hype tracks on here like Mink Match in the Coop. Very dope. I love that track. Election with Joel Santana and Mark Scabilia. I don't know if that's how you say your name. I apologize. But he's on this album quite a few times. Killing the hooks. Very dope. My favorite song on here is probably Pardon My Thoughts with Dave East. They flip an Evanescence sample on here. Heatmakers. They always do these samples, and they killed that Evanescence sample. Super hard. Try Again with Danny B2R. I don't know if that's how you say the name. I apologize. Or Drama. I'm sorry. Drama. B2R and Conway the Machine. Love that shit. Finito with Fred the Godson. Gospel. Father Forgive Us with Mano. It's another more of a hype track. And I'm actually going to take back that Pardon My Thoughts is my favorite song on here. I had it scrolled down so I couldn't see the top part. Pardon My Thoughts is my second favorite. My favorite song on here is Chasing That Feeling with Mark Scabilia. Again, I apologize if that's not how you pronounce your name. Chasing That Feeling. Oh, I love that song. If you are a Diplomats fan, Jim Jones fan, whatever, or if you are looking for some new shit to bump this Jim Jones, produced by Heatmakers, El Capo Deluxe. Damn near as good as El Capo, my album of the year last year. It's just a fantastic album, bumping it. And I really hope that it does get the physical treatment on CD. And if it only gets a vinyl release, I'll definitely cop it. Package it together with El Capo last year, but I digress. Fantastic album coming in number 4. Jim Jones, El Capo Deluxe, produced entirely by Heatmakers. And then we got, where are we? Shit, number 3. Another album that didn't get hard copy. It did get a vinyl treatment. I missed out on that pre-order, even though I set my schedule to remind me to get the vinyl. I fucking didn't get it in time. Sold out super quick. But we got Ramirez and Rocky with the Player's Manual. Ramirez of G59, Gray 59 Records, which is Suicide Boys record label. And this project right here, I played the fuck out of it. 15 songs minus a couple intros and interludes. It's 36 minutes. It's a fairly short listen, but this dude kind of went away from that dark, trappy Suicide Boys sound that they've, that people love them for. And he went with more of a West Coast vibe on here, like straight up West Coast album, and kind of channeled his inner Bone Thugs at the same time on a couple of these songs. That's what it reminded me of anyway. I believe it was entirely produced by Rocky. I know he does a bunch of the hooks on here, has a few verses on here as well. My favorite song on this album easily is Gold Things and Pinky Rings with Shakewell and Puya. I played the fucking shit out of that song. It's probably my most played song of 2020. I love that song, man. Super dope. But other standout tracks on here, are the 4-5. Love that song. I'm plotting up a homicide. It's just super dope. Love the production. Just if you love that G-funk kind of sound, that mid to late 90s West Coast shit, you'll love this album. And I highly recommend you check it out. Tales from the Gutter, another fantastic song that they put together. Lane Switching, which Rocky's on it as well. Opening track to the album. I hope it gets a CD treatment. Every once in a while, I'll at Ramirez on Twitter and tell him, you gotta press that CD. I know he don't know who the fuck I am, but I hope it does get that CD treatment. And shout out to this dude for kind of coming out of nowhere. Like, I was looking forward to this album, but I've always fucked with Ramirez. I always thought he was dope, but like, this album elevated him to that next level. And I hope he kind of sticks with this sound or plays with more sounds like he did. You know, he went a completely different direction with this album and super dope. Highly recommend you peep this. Ramirez and Rocky with the Player's Manual. Just a fantastic. If you have a drop top, ride or a 6'4" Impala or some shit like that with some gold Daytons on it, it's that rider music for real. Super dope. And here we go. Top 2 projects. And coming in at number 2, this was going to be number 1 for a long ass time till the number 1 project came out. Joel Ortiz and Crooked Eye, now known as King Crooked, they put out the best EP of 2020 with HARD. The acronym HARD. The acronym is Housing Authority Rap District. The album cover is hard. The production is hard. Heatmakers, again, they produced a few tracks on here. Along with Eric Sermon did shit on here. Apollo Brown, Ill Mind, Justice League. All-star lineup of producers, but Joel Ortiz, half of Slaughterhouse. We might not ever get a Slaughterhouse album ever again, which is unfortunate, but to see Crooked Eye or King Crooked and Joel Ortiz come together and put this album out, EP rather, because it is only 8 tracks, but this shit is super hard. They both have solo songs on here. King Crooked with Caddy Bump, LBC, when he says, when the real ones grew up in the free lunch line. I felt that shit because I was one of those kids in the free lunch line at school, straight up. And then Joel Ortiz had his solo track, Wolves, Brooklyn, produced by Justice League. His flow and the wordplay, just in general, on this entire EP is nuts. Like, these dudes are known for rapping their asses off, and the metaphors and the multi-syllable rhyming on this album is fucking insane. They put on a clinic with this EP. Fantastic project, man. It's short as hell. 8 tracks, like 20-something minutes. Another one, you just let it play. And then when it ends, just let that shit repeat. Because they absolutely brought it. And the production on here from Heatmakers, Eric Sermon, my favorite songs on here. I already mentioned the 2 solo tracks. Those are probably my 2 favorite songs on the album. I know it's a collab project, but those are my 2 favorites. But Catching Bodies, produced by Apollo Brown, is fucking fire. And then Lose My Mind, produced by Heatmakers. I love that shit, man. Just that real life, hit you in the feels type shit. And you can't go wrong with Heatmakers production. Just super dope shit. And that brings it down to the number one spot. Shout out to everybody that's been on this list already. 2020, in my opinion, has been a great year. But the best album of 2020 has to go to Conway the Machine with From King to a God. Not only the album of the year, but this dude is the MVP of the year in general. Underground, above ground, whatever. MVP. Because this dude put out such a great body of work with From King to a God. I got the hard copy. This is the holy grail of hard copies of 2020. You know, I haven't done my newest CD collection video yet, so I haven't got a chance to show this off yet until right now, but I do have the hard copy of it. I had to cop it because what this dude did with this album, I felt like I knew he was capable of it, but I maybe wasn't necessarily expecting that for this to happen yet. Like, there's dudes that just put out mixtapes after mixtapes, whatever. And then when they finally drop, and these, in my opinion, some of these mixtapes could be albums, like Reject 2 or Goat. Those could be albums. Goat was my favorite project from Conway until this shit dropped. This right here, I get why he called this his first album, because it is an album. It plays like an album. It's constructed like an album. His songwriting, everything he did with this project is super dope. Griselda's MVP for 2020, without a doubt. And like I said, 2020 MVP in general. This dude killed it. Standout songs on here. Every fucking song. Can I say that? Can I say that? Every goddamn song on here, man. Love it. Even the bonus tracks. But if I do have to pick favorite songs on here, I'm going to go with the intro track, From King, produced by Derringer. Rapping over drumless beats, kind of. Just a great way to start the album. Fear of God, featuring Dej Loaf, produced by Hit Boy. Love that shit. Dej Loaf killed her feature. Lemon, featuring Method Man. Method Man destroyed the feature. Love the hook. Simple as fuck. Lemon squeeze, lemon squeeze. Love that shit. Super dope. From Conway the Machine. Juvenile Hell with Flea Lord, Havoc, and Lloyd Banks, produced by Havoc. Goddamn. Maybe, debatably the hardest track on that album. Juvenile Hell. Frontlines, produced by Beat Butcher and Signal Flow Music. Talking a lot of shit on that album. Talking about the snitches in the industry. Talking about the fucked up shit going on with the injustices in America. The racial injustices and all that. Super dope track, Frontlines. One of the most crazy songs I never thought I would hear Conway on this type of shit, which was Anza, featuring Amani Caesar, produced by Murder Beats. This song right here is some shit that I feel like I would hear at a club, like straight up in a club. But Conway keeps it super grimy on there. His flow, he just floats over that beat. His wordplay on that song is insane. And Armani Caesar, Griselda's first lady, she brought it on there, held her own on there with Conway as well. And, the most left field song, but it's super dope, is Anza. Love that shit. Spurs 3 with his brother and cousin, Westside Gun, Benny the Butcher, produced by Beat Butcher. Anytime these three dudes get on a track, Conway, Westside, and Benny, it's going to be murderous. There's no doubt about it. They dropped What Would Sheen Gun Do last year. That was in my top 5 last year. Debatably album of the year last year as well. I wouldn't be mad at anybody that said that was album of the year last year. But anytime those three dudes get on a track, just super dope. Forever Dropping Tears featuring El Camino. Rest in peace, DJ Shay. This song just hits you in the feels. Super dope. Great way to end the album. And then you got the bonus tracks, Jesus Crisis, which I felt like Jesus Crisis could have fit in somewhere with those 12 other songs to make the main album. That's such a great song. I know he just put out a video for it and all that as well. And then Nothing Less, produced by DJ Premier, another dope track. But Conway the Machine, From King to a God, in my opinion, should be everybody's album of the year. If you listen to this album, man, it is fucking amazing. You gotta listen to it. I know you've listened to the podcast, and I've talked about Griselda a million times. But if you're gonna listen to anything that they dropped this year, it has to be, in my opinion, From King to a God, from Conway the Machine. I still bump it. I don't have the CD in my car just because it was $100 for the fucking CD, man. It's the most expensive CD I've ever paid, and that's why I call it the Holy Grail of 2020. But in my opinion, worth every single penny. And Conway killed it. The MVP of 2020. No fucking doubt in my mind. And that's going to wrap it up for my top 20 of 2020. If you're still tuned in, an hour and 12 minutes in, hit me up on my socials. Comment on YouTube if you're watching on YouTube that you're still tuned in. Shout out to everybody that made the list. Twisted, Flea Lord, Ritz, Ouija Mac, King ISO, Joel and King Crooked, Conway, fucking, who else? Felt, Ill Bill, Nems, Riggs and Mooch, Sutter Kane, Donnie Darko. These dudes killed it. Shout out to everybody that's tuned in right now. And I'm Ron Bone of the Beneath the Dirt podcast. And until next time, I'm out. Peace.